parties dealing with Mogale City, 2 contracts signed by 3 parties in the Western Cape, that's in George and Breede Valley, 2 contracts signed by 3 parties in the Northern Cape, and 11 contracts signed by 2 parties also dealing with different municipalities. So it's a completely new reality of where we are at the moment. And it was a difficult process, but the task was done by people committed to make a difference and to make a change. And I think we are very happy that we are here at this position today. And it says something. I do want to make the point that we meet at this venue today, and it's not a coincidence. If you look just across the road, there's a huge building. I think it's called the Union Buildings. And it's not a coincidence that we meet here, because what we achieve today could set a tone for 2024, and it may have, and it should have, implications for a building across the road. I would like then to give an opportunity to the various leaders here in front to address us. And I would like to start off, John from the Democratic Alliance, if you would please come to the podium and say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning to the members of the media that are here today, but of course the fellow leaders of political parties represented here today. I think today is a historic day, because I think that today lays the foundation for the next big thing in South African politics, and that's the 2024 election. And I'm very, very pleased that we have, as political parties, been able to find each other around a common set of values and principles. And I think that that is what's distinguished this process from processes that have gone before. That we started with the values and principles and the objectives of what we would like to achieve for the residents in each of those cities, and we worked backwards from there. The last thing that we were discussing were positions. And I think that shows the commitment of every single one of the parties represented here, that our goal is to put the people in the cities that we govern first and foremost and uppermost in our thoughts. For far too long in metropolitan areas around South Africa, the people have been left on the back burner, and it is the politicians who've inserted themselves and pushed themselves to the front of the queue. If you take a flip through any one of the agreements that we're going to sign here today, you will see a common thread. The people come first. And it's in the service of the people that we've been able to find common ground and commonality. Now, it hasn't been easy. It's been challenging. There have been long hours. And I want to thank the negotiating team from my party, led by Helen Ziller, and our Gauteng leader, Solium Zamanga, Thomas Walters and Fred Nell, for the incredible amount of time and effort that's been put into it. There's been a lot of give and take and a lot of compromise. And I think if we can build on this spirit of give and take and compromise in the people's interest, I think we've taken those first tentative steps towards unseating the ANC in 2024. We've already crossed the psychological barrier of bringing the ANC below 50%. And this last election has shown that. We now have to put our differences aside, our ideological stumbling blocks aside, and start to determinedly march along that road, because it is time to liberate the people of South Africa from one-party domination of our national politics. We've liberated local government now, or large parts of local government, from ANC nepotism, corruption, and one-party domination. Now we need to focus on 2024, bringing the ANC below 50% at a national level, and bringing a new era of people-led government that's based on values and principles, clean, accountable government that delivers services for the people of our country. And if we can get that right, and if we can stay the course, if we can hold these coalitions stable, I think that we will go into those elections in 2024 with a solid offer to put before the people of South Africa that a proportional representation system will always, at some stage, lead to coalitions. That's the way the system is designed. That parties can find each other, and that we can, working together, bring stable, accountable government to these cities. And I think that's good news for South Africa. I think that what we're doing today is giving South Africans a day before Reconciliation Day, a show that we can reconcile the small things that separate us sometimes and find common ground with each other as political parties. But I think we're also giving South Africa an early Christmas present. And I think that South Africans can close off 2021 much more secure and happier in the notion that change is going to come to South Africa. It's going to start in these cities, and it's going to sweep like a wave across the length and breadth of South Africa. I'm excited for that journey. I'm excited to share that journey as the Democratic Alliance with our other partners that are here today as we set out on this brave new journey of building a new majority in South Africa, of bringing change and working finally in a way that puts the people of South Africa ahead of the politicians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. Could I call on Mr. Herman Mashaba from ActionSA, please, to come and address us?
Thank you, Dr. Mulder. Good morning, my colleagues, leaders of the various political parties, representatives of the political parties involved with this historic, momentous event, members of the media, and fellow South Africans. I'm a 62-year-old South African who went out to vote on the 27th of April 1994. Quite excited because I never thought I would really live in a free democratic South Africa in my lifetime. Born right in the midst of apartheid in 1959. 1959, a year after HFF took over government. So for me, 1994 was historic for me. Excited with the prospect of unleashing the potential of this country. I grew up in a country where people who did not work were those who did not want to work. That's why the apartheid government actually had what they used to call lofreskap. On a day like this, they'll be out in the townships, in the villages, arresting people who did not want to work. 27 years later, I sit as I speak to you today as an ashamed South Africans, ashamed of our country. 13 million of our fellow South Africans are unemployed. We are more divided as South Africans than we were pre-1994. We are more unequal today than we were in pre-1994. Why I'm excited about this development? Because this development has given South Africans hope. I know personally the last few days I'm getting calls, messages by South Africans that you guys have given us hope as a multi-party government to find one another. Difficult process. You can imagine, I think we all contested on the basis of wanting outright majority. But the voters of South Africa said, no ways. We are not going to allow one-party domination any longer. We paid the price of some of the evils and ills of our society. So thank you so much, colleagues, more especially our negotiation team, more especially the last 12 odd days. It's been a nightmare. I don't know how you guys slept. But I think you did it for South Africa. I think every time these colleagues encountered a problem, they'll always find a solution. Dr. Mulder, you're really a star of our country. You really played a very, very good role. Putting together this group of the Herman Mashabus, the John Steenhuisens with their own personalities. You said, no, come down to reality. Here is it. John and I, Nadel, Lucia, Mr. Groenewald, Dr. Groenewald, and our other colleagues from the IFP, ACDP, and other parties. Thank you so much for putting South Africa first. Because the achievement of this historic agreement is as a result of all of us said people of South Africa first. And that's what we actually managed to really achieve. So I'd really like to really extend my deepest gratitude to the parties that decided finally to put people of South Africa ahead of everything else. I'm quite positive. This time around, 27 years later, my grandchildren are going to live in a better South Africa than the one I was born and lived under a democratic dispensation. And the reason why I feel so is because this coalition arrangement is going to ensure that the ANC government come 2024, they're out of government. And that's something that we need to really work towards. They've been given a chance. They overstayed their visit. And I think we must not apologize about our intentions and our agenda. Our agenda is to save this country from ANC. If anyone is under the impression that ANC can self-correct, that person must be living in another world. That person must be living in another world. In fact, for them to self-correct, they can only get worse. Now it becomes our responsibility as political leaders to ensure that we create a better future for our children. What is actually quite frightening about the prospect of what we are going to face, all the mayors and their executive teams, colleagues, don't be naive to think it's going to be an easy ride. I can tell you, Dr. Palazzi, you know very well, you are facing a city with almost 200 billion rands infrastructure backlog. You are inheriting a city with over 300,000 housing backlog. You're inheriting a city just 30 years ago was one of the most modern cities in the world. Today is a slum. You are inheriting a city with the debt levels today probably sitting between 25 and 30 billion. I've not checked the latest results. So it's not going to be an easy journey for you. All of you mayors, you're inheriting metros with national government in terms of our credit ratings as a junk status. So for you to access money out in the capital markets, it's not going to be an easy exercise. Is it possible to turn this ship around? I'm a strong believer that it is possible. You've got to go out there and be unapologetic, be brutal, put together the right people with the right skills to run your administration. Don't take chances. The days of your cadres are over. Cadres, even from our own parties. Yes, we'll have our own political staff in our own political office to assist us as the executive, but the administrative staff, please appeal to you. Get the right South Africans. Get right South Africans, because South Africans are committed and they are available with the right type of skills. Because if you can do that as a first step, I can tell you it'll be the first step in ensuring that 27 years later, children who are not born today, 27 years later, there will be doctors, there will be accountants, there will be engineers. You would have created opportunities for them. You're not going to create opportunities for us. Our role is to create the foundation, and a very strong foundation, so that by the time we start putting the bricks, by the time we put the roof, and we do the inside, this house is very strong. And I was very excited with the type of management structures that we've got in the 3 metros. From ActionSA, we can only wish you everything of the best. We are available to really give you whatever assistance, whatever help that you need to ensure that you succeed. Because your success is our success. It's the success of our children. Thank you very much, colleagues from the parties that are involved in this historic and momentous event. As John has already indicated, great Christmas, the present for South Africans. South Africa out there, embrace this new dispensation, embrace this new culture that has emerged out of this reigns. we've got a team that is going to turn this city and this cities and this country around. Thank you very much, and really thank you for ActionSA to be part of this historic moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba. Can I call on Dr. Pieter Groenewald, please, to address us?
Baie dankie, Corneille, dames en heren. Firstly, I want to start by saying welcome in the new political era in South Africa of coalition governments. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say that, if you go and look at the Constitution, you will find that there are different sections that specifically refer to the enhancement of multi-party democracy. You can go and look at section 236, where the funding of political parties are concerned. If you look at our proportional electoral system, every one of those issues are actually to enhance multi-party democracy. And I think today is historic in this sense, that we can show to the world that also in South Africa we can have coalition governments. And I always said, when you talk about coalition governments, it actually requires that you have better and stronger party leaders. Because only a strong leader of a political party will be able to be part of a coalition government. Because it is a matter of we must put the interests of the electorate first. But also to the people of South Africa. We have the responsibility to ensure that the voters of South Africa can realize that you can vote for the political party you want to vote for. Your vote will count, and you get a voice in the governance of, in this specific case, in local government. Therefore, it is our challenge to ensure that 2024, that there will be a coalition government on national and provincial levels as well. And I also appeal to the media. There's also a responsibility on you to enhance multi-party democracy. And that responsibility is that you will see in our agreement, we refer to a coalition government or a multi-party coalition government. Not a coalition led by a specific political party, because that actually creates confusion. It is a multi-party coalition. And I appeal to the media, please ensure that you also report that correctly, so that the electorate will know what will happen in 2024. Dis 'n uitdagende, opwindende tydperk wat voor lê vir Suid-Afrika. Jacob Zuma het gesê die ANC sal regeer tot Jesus kom. Wel, hy sit nou in die tronk, maar afgesien daarvan sal hy agterkom, dit gaan nie gebeur nie. Want lank voor dit sal daar 'n koalisieregering wees. En ons taak is om vir die kiesers van Suid-Afrika te wys dat 'n koalisieregering kan verantwoordelik optree, kan in die beste belang van die kiezer optree en nie net in die beste belang van die bepaalde politieke party nie. En daarom ook my beroep op ons kiesers in Suid-Afrika. U is die stem vir die toekoms. U weet die ANC regeer tans in die parlement met 'n 58% meerderheid, maar hy het slegs 27% van die potensiële kiesers van Suid-Afrika wat vir hom gestem het. Ons kiesers moet ook aangemoedig word om te kan stem vir sy party of haar party en weet dat die stem tel en dan in 'n koalisieregering die stem in die regering wees, want ek sê vir u, enige regering anders as die ANC is 'n beter regering vir Suid-Afrika. Dankie vir die kollegas, ons gaan hard werk om 'n sukses te maak van plaaslike regering waar ons in koalisies regeer. Baie dankie.
Thank you, Dr. Groenewald. May I call on you, Zandile Malyosi, on behalf of the IFP, please address us.
Thank you, Program Director Dr. Moody, and greetings to all the leaders of different political parties who are here, the media. I think we share the same sentiments that South Africans spoke, and this time they spoke differently. In fact, they started in 2016 speaking that this is what we want change. And now, as political parties, is what we have to realize that people want to see stable government, people want to see service delivery. So coalition governments are not the best ideal ways, of course, that maybe all political parties would like to govern. But what is different with this government is that it's the local government. It's not about the ideologies of different political parties or anything, but it's about the service delivery to the people. So once we are able to get that and we deliver to the people, people will be able all the time to give us the vote and trust us to make sure that we deliver on them. They spoke on the 1st of November, and we have to listen to what they have said. Arrogance and self-interest is not what they are looking for. What they want as communities and societies is the government that will listen to them, and the government that will always come back and give feedbacks and service delivery to them. So once we master that, I think we would have mastered the governments of coalitions going to 2024. They showed that they want to see a government that will work for the people. They wanted a service delivery and government that is stable. And as the Inkatha Freedom Party, that is what we believe in. And what I liked about these negotiations is that when all parties came together, we all agreed on the same sentiments and the same objectives, that we want to see a government that will work for the people, a stable government that will create employment. We've got a high rate of unemployment. Young people are frustrated. It's a mess in South Africa. So people want to see a different change, a change that will give them freedom. They say that we got freedom 1994, but I'm yet to see that because still people are struggling today. There's still poverty. They are not alleviated on anything. So people of South Africa want to really see that. But most importantly, I think I will not spend more time here because we political parties have spoken, and I think we share the same objectives on how we are going to govern on coalitions. That is why we are all here to sign the agreement, because we have then agreed this is how we want to see our cities being run, especially in Gauteng. So I would like to thank all leaders that were particularly on the technical team that was established to make sure that we get this government going, because now people were starting to worry that are we going to have a stable government? Are we able to put up people who are going to bring service delivery to them? Because that is what then, when yesterday Mayor of City of Johannesburg was announcing the MMCs, I was there, and then it put my mind on ease that now it's time for us to bring service to the people. So yeah, it's a huge step that we are taking. It's not going to be easy. We are different political parties, different people will always have different views, but that is what is going to bring Gauteng together. Because once we've got different views, we belong in different constituencies. We respectively come from different constituencies, and we represent those constituencies. Once we bring all those ideas into one and make sure that we bring the service to the people who are able then to master the government of coalitions. Service delivery, stable government, freedom. I hope the next 5 years term is our chance to give Gauteng people stability. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you, Honourable Majosi. Yes, I would now like to call on Raymond Tlali, representing the ACDP. Please, Raymond. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director Dr. Mulder. Thanks to all the leaders of political parties that are gathered here today. Thanks to the media, and thanks to all the members of political parties that are with us today. It's a great joy for African Christian Democratic Party to be part of this beautiful, wonderful history-making day in South Africa. South Africans have spoken. We are the outcome of what they have said during the elections. We are also going to be part of what they expect come 2024. We could not have done anything besides what they have said. They said they want this type of governance. Coalition is not an emancipation or a making of any individual. It is the results of the South Africans who voted, those citizens in those metros who said, we are sick and tired of corruption. We want a governance that will be able to deal with corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, this coalition, one thing that made the ACDP to be part of is that it was centered around the foundation that is very important, and that is transparency, accountability. Transparency and accountability to the citizens who put us in power. And we were very certain that to be part of this type of a coalition, it would take the citizens to where they are supposed to be. Our people are suffering due to a governance that brought forth corruption that is stolen from them, that is stolen even their services, that is stolen, you name it, they are sitting there, they've got nothing. Now I'm happy because ACDP is a party that is based on one thing and one thing only, leaders of integrity and servanthood. We are prepared to be part of this body. That said, during the production of this document, you'll see the document. It contains a lot of commitment relative to the previous one, 2016, which was only focusing on the positions. This one is very elaborate in terms of the conduct of the very same partners, in terms of the structure. The structure is very clear in terms of how do we resolve issues, in terms of how do we improve, in terms of it goes to an extent of even saying, ladies and gentlemen, if we are failing South Africans who put us here, we've got a clause there that says, then we can shut the house. Because we owe it to South Africans. It's not about political parties, it's not about us. One thing that I must mention, Chairperson, before I sit down. You know, one other commitment that was very important during the discussions was the issue of that emerged in 2016. The issue of when you form coalitions, which are very new concept in South Africa, it was not very clear exactly what is that. To an extent that certain parties would say, I lead the coalition. We have managed during this process for the first time to indicate that the leaders in the coalition are the people who brought us together. And we just have to come together and serve them. And I want to really applaud the political parties, the leaders thereof, who during the discussions stressed that information to say, let us focus on serving the people and nothing else but the people of South Africa. Now, also again, it was very important. I was part of the many hours, discussing this discussions. It was very tough, I must say. It was very, very tough. But one thing that makes us all happy is that during that process, one spirit took us throughout the whole process. It was the spirit of determination of not disappointing the South Africans. Everybody would come to a corner, but in that corner, we'll remember that, by the way, South Africans has put us here. They're expecting. I remember the mayor, Honorable Mayor of Johannesburg, saying, I am just about to announce, people are waiting. He should come back to the committee and plead, and we'll say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reality. People are waiting. We can't just afford to lose any more time. By those few words, I want to say, thank you, Dr. Mulder. He was a very good, he steered the wheel very well. He deserves a round of applause. Thank you to all our partners, the technical committee members. I know I can see some of them are here. When it was very hot and the hot was getting tough, some of them would come and say, please listen here, listen here. This is about South Africans, not about us. And thank you, colleagues, for what you have done. And this is the product that we can all enjoy. And South Africans are going to be the beneficiaries at the end of the day. May the Lord bless you as we begin to roll out this agreement, which I believe is the best. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Raymond. Can I call on Mr. Inkatha from COPE, please, to address us?
My dear friends, I greet all of the leaders of the parties that are here. But more important, I greet the people of South Africa. The men and women who left their shacks and went to vote. There are others who voted a different way, who decided that they would not go and vote for anybody who had betrayed them since we came to power, and were voted in again and again, but never did anything for the people. There are those who voted in that way. I remember going out in these elections and saying, we must ask ourselves, what does the word vote mean? Have we ever explained to our people what the word vote means? So that the people must not hear English but not know what English means. And that was very important, because then very many people began to say, but I thought it meant this, I thought it meant that. And when we explained, then the people said, well, we didn't understand until now. And this was a very important thing. Because, comrades, the British in 1910 passed an act of their parliament, and they said that we are giving you freedom, you are the Union of South Africa. That's what the English did to us, 1910. We should really have started governing ourselves then, if you think about it. But we didn't become a union. We took a long, roundabout way. Different ways, battles, etc. What we are really doing today, for the first time now, our people have begun to think this way. We want power in our hands, and we want to be the ones to tell those we have voted for what we want them to do for us. Not what they want, but what we, the people, want. And that is what the small team of negotiators in this coalition arrangements, that is what they were grappling with. What do the people want? That's why our small negotiators were struggling this way and that, because they tried to say, we must return to the big question, what do the people want? And so we must go and do what the people want. We have a dual function. First of all, we must establish at the present time what we understood what they want. But even more important, we must link that with a continuing education to say to the people, please tell us what you want. Continuously remind us what you want. We want to do what you want. Not whether you want a Mercedes-Benz, a Bentley, all these fantastic cars. Tell us what you want. Because this money that you pay to us as tax is not our money, it's your money. What is outstanding and what you must not forget is that you must keep telling us what you, the people, want. And we, comrades, we must remind each other, remind ourselves continuously what the people say they want. And what we really know, what we also know, is what the people want. They want homes. I think I should start here. They want education for their children. They want education for their children, irrespective of color and all of that. They want that education, they want homes, they want work, they want things that they can do under our guidance and do for themselves. That is our challenge. And they also want us to strengthen the government. They put us now in government, but they want us to strengthen this government. They want us to help bring everybody else behind this government so that this government can do for them that which they deserve. Meneer Mulder, ek dink ek het bietjie te lank gepraat. Laat ek maar dankie sê, hoor.
Thank you, Mr. Lekota.
And that's it for the agenda. Thanks for watching.